Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of What the Sheet. My name is Clint, and today I'm going to be exploring and explaining the many parts of the Starfinder Roleplaying Game character sheet. Alright, so a little background before we start. Starfinder is created by Paizo Publishing, the makers of Pathfinder Roleplaying Game. Starfinder is set thousands of years into the future of Pathfinder, where the races discovered spaceflight and started to explore out into the stars. I don't want to go too deep into this, but just want to say the story set up for the initial world is very intriguing, and I can't wait for more lore to come out. So now that we have got that out of the way, let's jump right into the meat of the sheet. First off, we have the character info section. This is where all the basic important information for your character is held. This includes their name, class, level, race, and theme. Theme is a flavor added to your class that gives it more bonuses and changes the overall feel of your character. Size is how large overall your character is based on your race. Speed is how fast your character is able to run based on race. Your character's gender is obvious. Homeworld is the planet your character was born on. Alignment is how good or evil your character is. And deity is what god your character worships, if any. And finally, player is where you place your own name. So this is the description where you would write down what your character looks like. Their hair color, style, eye color, height, weight, muscular, pointed ears, piercings, all that kind of flavor. Here we have the ability scores. This is the heart, body, and soul of your character. Anything that she does in the game is going to come back to these numbers in some form. The abilities are as follows: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Or to make it really simplified, how hard they'll hit, how well they'll dodge a hit, how many hits they can take until falling down, how book smart they are, how street smart they are, and how pretty they are. In this section you can see a few columns. The first is the base score. This is the number you will buy during character creation. Next is the modifier. This number is what will be used throughout the rest of the sheet. The higher your base score, the better your modifier will be. You can look at the table in the book to see what your modifier is, or you can take your score, subtract 10, divide that by 2, and then round down. So a 15 strength would give you a +2 modifier. Next is your upgraded score. This is your score after being augmented by an item or implant. The upgraded modifier is the number you get when you plug your upgraded score into the formula from a moment ago. In combat, there is a turn order. The faster you are, the sooner in order you get to act. This is determined by your initiative score. At the start of combat, you will roll a d20 and add your initiative score to the result. Highest number goes first. Your initiative score is just your dexterity modifier. Here we have the health and resolve section, where you can keep track of your character's stamina, hit, and resolve points. Stamina is where any initial damage amount will be subtracted from. This is your character's ability to shrug off a hit. With each damaging attack, he is going to start to feel the pain a bit more and more. Once all your character's stamina is gone, we will start to pull from their hit points. If the hit points reach 0, your character runs the risk of dying unless he gets medical attention. Resolve is the grit and never say die attitude of your character. These points are spent in game for a number of different reasons, though one major one, after your character takes a really rough hit, he can shake it off and keep on firing. Resolve points can also be used to activate certain class abilities. Your armor class is how difficult it is to hit or do damage to your character from sources such as energy weapons and melee weapons. EAC, or energy armor class, is how well you defend against energy-based attacks, while KAC, or kinetic armor class, is how well you defend against physical attacks. Combat maneuvers are things like disarming or grappling, and the number here is a difficulty for enemies to do this to you. DR is damage reduction, a number which you subtract from the damage type. Resistances are what kinds of sources of damage you have DR against, such as fire. If you take fire damage and you have fire resistance, you minus that number from the attack and then apply that amount to your health. Magical afflictions, poisonings, dodging gunfire and traps are all things that might befall your character while she travels the stars. Saving throws are the ticket to safety and are broken down into 3 categories. Magical-like afflictions, for example, use will. Dodging things uses reflex, and fortitude is used to shake off poisons. Each of these 3 saves is based off a different ability score modifier and a base save that can be found on a chart for your specific class. Alright, let's punch and shoot some stuff. I mean, that is why we play these games, right? There are 3 kinds of attacks and they're pretty simple to understand. Melee is punching, ranged is shooting, and thrown is chucking something random at a guy. So here are the bonuses for the 3 kinds of attacks. These numbers are added to an attack roll to determine if you strike what you are aiming at. To start though, in the upper right of this section is the base attack bonus, or BAB. This number is determined by your class and will raise while you level up. This number is used in all attack bonuses, so it is a very important one to remember. Boomsticks and stabby blades aplenty are kept in this section. Each of these rows holds information that is important to the weapons your character is holding. Skills are incredibly useful when it comes to learning or solving problems in the world of Starfinder. Almost every action your character will perform in the game will fall under one of these skills, which determines, after a roll of course, if he succeeds or fails in the attempt. Skills range from mentally complex like medicine and life science to more physically challenging ones like acrobatics. Your total in any skill is based on 4 numbers. Ranks are how much you have learned the skill. Sometimes a class bonus might apply, your natural ability, aka the ability modifier associated with the skill, and a miscellaneous modifier that can come from any number of sources like gear or spell effects. So here's a kind of catch-all section that covers things your character can do or learn that aren't placed in other sections. Generally, in my own personal gaming, this is where you list class-based features and racial abilities such as dark vision. Feats and proficiencies are tricks or things your character has learned through her journey. Proficiencies are kinds of things that your character can do with relative ease, such as wearing certain types of armor and wielding specific weapons. Feats can be anything from new combat ability bonuses to skills. Here we have a list where you can keep track of all the ancient artifacts you dig up while flying through the galaxy. Below is a box where you keep track of how much money your character is holding on her person. Everything has some weight, and since your character is going to be picking up everything not nailed to the ground, your character is quickly going to find out the limits of what he can hold on his back. For a quick reference, this is where you will write down the total weight he can hold. Unencumbered is the max you can hold without being slowed. Encumbered range will mean your character moves and reacts slower, and overburdened is a weight even more difficult or even sometimes impossible to carry, so you possibly might want to look into ditching some stuff. As you disable traps, complete quests, and dispatch enemies, you will gain experience. This is where you will keep track of your current experience and what you need to reach the next level. For every star, there is a planet, and for all those planets, there are weird creatures who talk funny. This is where you keep track of all the funky languages you have learned while roaming the stars. So just because we are rolling through space, fighting aliens, and shooting ray guns does not mean magic took a vacation. On the contrary, there is a good amount of it in Starfinder. This final piece of the sheet is where anyone playing a character with the ability to use spells will keep track of what they know. There are 6 spell levels that you gain as you play through the game. Each level has a few boxes in it. Spells known is the number of spells your character has learned. Spells per day is the number of spells you can cast in a given day. Spell slots used is a way to keep track of how many slots of spells you have prepared for the day. I know this is all a little bit confusing, and I may cover it in a later video, but for now this is just showing where to write down numbers. And that's it for this episode of What the Sheet Starfinder. I hope you guys found this enjoyable and informative and helped maybe explain maybe what some of the boxes were for. Write down in the comments maybe any other character sheets you'd like us to try and go over or explain a little bit better. Remember to watch the other videos, check out what we're having coming out soon, and like and subscribe and share with your friends. And until next time, I'm Clint, Intelligence Modifier, and we'll see you later.